We're here at the King David Hotel in Jerusalem where Mitt Romney is holding a fundraising event. The couples inside are paying $50,000 to hear the Republican presidential candidate speak about Israel. But probably the most important person in the room is Sheldon Adelson. He's the American Jewish businessman who's donated millions of dollars to bankroll Romney's campaign. The billionaire casino owner, known for his right-wing views on Israel, brought some of his high-rolling friends to the Romney fundraiser, like New York Jets owner Woody Johnson. The intimate breakfast for about 24 supporters reportedly raised $1 million for the governor's campaign. Not surprisingly, many in this crowd feel Romney's success as a businessman make him qualified to sit in the White House. American Shmuel Wasserman is an Israeli-based venture capitalist.
From the time of George Washington till the time of Barack Obama, the numbers of business people who populated the cabinets of presidents vacillated somewhere between the mid-30s to the mid-50s. Even JFK had a 35% populated cabinet of business people. Barack Obama has 8% of his cabinet made of business people, and considering they papered over the 2008 catastrophe and somebody's going to have to pay for it, I believe you need somebody with vision and strength, and certainly someone who comes from a business background that understands the nature of undervalued assets like Governor Romney.
Romney's business smarts appeal to these American voters more than usual given the economic challenges facing America, but they also see it as a sign of authenticity and pragmatism they say is lacking today.
Obama's a professional dreamer. So he tells them, I'm going to subsidize you for this or Social Security, every subsidy you can imagine, child care, education. He doesn't have the money for it, but it sounds good because he has endless empty promises. Whereas when you have a businessman who tells you the truth, people say, well, I don't have the same report because the other candidate feels so compassionately about me. There's no compassion in Obama's body. It's all pretend. And so Romney's the real deal, and I think the American public will realize that.
Romney consistently delivered a promise of unwavering support for Israel during his trip, culminating in a speech he gave overlooking Jerusalem's Old City. President Obama was not directly criticized, but jabs were there between the lines.
Standing by Israel does not mean with military and intelligence cooperation alone. We cannot stand silent as those who seek to undermine Israel voice their criticisms, and we certainly should not join in that criticism. Diplomatic distance in our public between our nations emboldens Israel's adversaries.
On how to cope with what the West fears is Iran's nuclear weapons program, Romney took a strong stand a day after his top advisor indicated the governor would back a unilateral Israeli strike on Tehran to stop the program if necessary.
Dissuade the Iranian regime from its nuclear course, and it is our fervent hope that diplomatic and economic measures will do so. In the final analysis, of course, no option should be excluded. We recognize Israel's right to defend itself and that it is right for America to stand with you.
Romney's message of solidarity came across loud and clear for those shelling out the big bucks at his fundraiser.
I think Governor Romney understands what's necessary and understands that Israel is the only friend that America has, and therefore will support and stand behind Israel, where I don't think we're going to see the same support from President Obama.
But the Middle East is riddled with political minefields, and it's no surprise that Romney stirred some controversy. Israeli conservatives were delighted with Romney for calling Jerusalem Israel's undivided capital, but it drew sharp criticism from Palestinian leaders. They also responded with anger to what they called Romney's unfair comparison of the thriving Israeli economy and the sluggish Palestinian one. Saab Erekat chastised Romney for failing to mention that the Palestinian economy functions and competes at a disadvantage given Israel's checkpoints and its control of parts of the West Bank and Gaza's borders. How do supporters describe Mitt Romney up close? He's often perceived as stiff and emotional in the media. Phil Rosen has known Romney for more than 6 years and is on his campaign finance committee.
He's a professional, and he has a Boston-type personality as well. So So it may come through as being not as warm as maybe people from the South, but he has the same warmth. I mean, you could tell at the Wailing Wall yesterday, at the Western Wall, when he saw me, he came over, called me over, pulled me over, and gave me a hug. I mean, you know, a cold person doesn't give hugs publicly, and he does.
Political analysts say that warmth and approachability needs to be communicated to the general voting public, not just close friends. The voting litmus test for many Americans remains, do I want to sit down with the guy and have a beer? There was obviously a lot of enthusiasm and support for Mitt Romney at this fundraiser. His views appeal most to politically conservative American Jews, both here in Israel and abroad. The real challenge for Romney will be getting more Jews who are in the middle and on the left to vote for him. That's a task that awaits him when he returns to the United States. He has less than 100 days now before the election day in November if he hopes to unseat the sitting president, Barack Obama. Jordana Miller, JN1, Jerusalem.